Hello, everybody, and welcome to coverage of our fourth quarterfinals of the 2024 All Brawl Top 8. I'm Michael Hoyp. I'm joined by very special guest, Tom Metelsky. How's it going, Tom?
It's going good, man. Let's go. I'm pumped for this.
Yes, so the matchup we have at hand, I guess I'll note, it is a recording. This match was played earlier in the week, but we're going to... I mean, Tom, you don't know the results of the match. I'm assuming. Maybe you do. I don't know. But I would pretend Tom doesn't. I know I technically do, but we're gonna do it live, because I don't think the public knows exactly yet. So we have a recording of the match between Rich Shay, who is on Mono Blue Stiflenought, and then Phil Nguyen on Raging Glaciers. I am going to quick go over the player profiles as we bring up Rich Shay. He is out of Norwood, Massachusetts. He had a 7-1 record and took the 4th seed. He is piloting Mono Blue Stiflenought, which I guess was a surprise to me because Rich has been playing Replenish for so long and been doing really well with it. It's not like he had gone into a lull. So I kind of just assumed when he made the top 8 that he was playing Replenish. Nope, he's piloting the Mono Blue Stiflenought, which is the winning list from LobsterCon. So he says it's solid versus most forms of combo because you can be disruptive, but can struggle against decks that make it difficult to leverage your Xerox engine into a win. He notes the sideboard MVP. He said, "Flash of Insight is a starship." I always like when people make a very colorful adjective or description of a card. Describing a card as a starship, I think it's just a cool way of putting that. This is an all-star. So I thought that was cool. Let's go. So Rich Shay said that he wanted to try this deck because Brian and Lanny, so that's out of LobsterCon, did extremely well with it. They both won their respective tournaments and wanted to try it for himself. Plus, he wanted a break from Replenish. So that answers the question I think a lot of us had, why he's not playing Replenish. Would he make any changes? So far, so good. Any excitement moments? He said, catching someone off guard with Brain Freeze, which I thought was a very, very fitting answer from Rich Shay. I know Rich is a very big fan of Brain Freeze, so I thought that was funny. That made me smile. His favorite hobbies outside of Magic: keeping up with technology, taking walks, and spending time with friends. People should root for him because he says you should probably root from someone else. He said root for Phil. He has Lava Dart in his deck. So Rich being the humble guy and saying root for my opponent. And anything else, he said, thanks for the awesome list, David Araska. That is the deck designer who built the list that gave it to Brian Selden, who won LobsterCon, and then Lanny won the side event at LobsterCon. Real quick for Phil Nguyen out of New York City in New York, also had a 7-1 record, finished at the 5 seed. He's playing Raging Glaciers, so this is a deck that I've seen a lot less of. I think the community is probably a lot less familiar, but he says it's favored versus small creature decks and many control decks, but can struggle against mid-range with creatures that are too big to burn out and mana denial cards like Armageddon and Parallax Tide, and sometimes non-creature combo. He says Call the Herd on the sideboard was his MVP, and he said it's been one of the most hyped cards this year. And then Bill said he chose this because it's something he thought about bringing to LobsterCon, thought it was well positioned. He's kind of tinkered it. It started as a mono red control. He's added green. He has Naturalize, Call the Herd, and Treetop Village. He said he forgot to put an alternate Oath of Druids target in the sideboard. So that would be a change he would make. And probably would use a Chroma, but maybe Wood Ripper or Rorix are other cards that he's considering. And for exciting moments, he said one match he lost against Antoine Rurel's World Championship deck. That's like the Nether Go deck. In game 1, he was on the draw and immediately went to discard and to pitch a Nether Spirit, so it would come back right away. He lost that game, and then game 3, they were both under 3 life, and his opponent ended up winning. He likes to play Magic, but outside of Magic, he doesn't have any time, given that he has 2 twin toddlers, so no real time. The dad life, I guess, is something that we can all relate to of having limited free time. And people said people should root for Phil because Martin Berlin told me that if I win, he'll add Orcish Spy to the Premodern card pool. That goes back to kind of a joke. I think there was some brewing tournament where Phil had put Orcish Spy in his deck thinking that it was a Premodern legal card, and then it turned out that it was not in the legal card pool, and I think he's been advocating as a joke that it should be added just for him. And he would like to note, he said, thanks for Michael J. Hoyp for organizing the Fall Brawl, and read my Premodern newsletter, the banding newsletter, and which I am a subscriber to. Are you a subscriber, Tom?
Of course.
Yes. So yeah, you get your monthly newsletter, which I always enjoy when that comes in my inbox to read what Phil presents. So really good content, and I would recommend that for everyone. All right. I'm ready to look at the deck list real quick, and then I'll give you some opportunities to talk. I know I've been hogging the spotlight so far. Let's find.
Hold on. Before you get into the deck list, I got two things.
Yeah.
I probably won't say much afterwards. One, Rich said he, wound up break from Replenish. Is he really though? Because his sideboard plan is he basically boards into Replenish, right?
Into like the little Tide plan.
Yeah. Come on, Rich. What are we doing? And then second thing with Phil, if he really wins the Fall Brawl, Martin's going to allow Orcish Spy into the card pool. Like, is this legitimate, or is this just, are we trolling? Like, is that possible? Like, is this like the Invitational series? Like that would be kind of cool though, right? Like you win a big tournament like this and Martin, lets you put one card that's not legal in the format into the format. I'm down with that.
I agree, it'd be cool. I am going to go out on a limb and say that he's joking and trolling. I just know Martin's usually like pretty reserved on all these things, and like has been like, all right, we're not going to make a bunch of weird changes. Maybe for a tournament, I guess as the TO, I could maybe make it an exception, but I don't think Martin Berlin is going to make any wide sweeping changes given on a tournament result. But
no, for sure.
Okay, deck lists. Here we go. First up, I have the wonderful list from Phil Nguyen of the Raging Glaciers. So this deck is probably new to a lot of people. So I think originally it was just like Thawing Glaciers as a mana engine, and then had a bunch of like land destruction and burn spells, and originally like tried to stall the game so that it could like burn you out with Urza's Rage. That would be the raging part, and the Glaciers is from Thawing Glaciers. I think maybe I don't know what the original counts, but I think they were higher because right now there's only one Urza's Rage and one Thawing Glaciers. So maybe the namesake cards have been whittled down to one each, but it's kind of a red control deck, like with cards like Nevinyrral's Disc and Powder Keg, but then this has a support of more green cards, and Oath of Druids is a good way to slow down the game for creature decks. His only target is the Shard Phoenix, and there's 2 copies. So it's really just an anti-creature, like anti-weenie thing. And then the rest of it, he's going to get over the finish line with cards like Treetop Village, Ghitu Encampment, which I think is fun, and then some burn spells. Yes, I guess chat has just said, can we take a moment to appreciate the effort put into this deck pick? So I looked at this, and I'm like, oh, I like jokingly said that Phil had like went outside on his like his backyard, and like he like raked the leaves into a pile and then put the cards on, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's just like a tablecloth. And then I'm like, wait, some of the leaves are like physically over some of the cards. And so then I like went back to questioning myself. I'm like, maybe this is like a real photo in the leaves, and I'm not sure. I'm gonna say, well, there's a leaf on top of the card, it's got to be real. That's what I'll say. But yes, very, very nice deck photo. We'll take a look at the mono blue Stiflenought. So if you're familiar with the LobsterCon winning list, I believe this is a carbon copy of it. So the Stiflenought package is something that we've seen in Premodern a lot. There are Dreadnoughts, and you combine it with Stifle or Vision Charm to put that 12/12 into play. I'll note there are a couple copies of Mishra's Factory. That is something that we don't always see in the mono blue list. And then the big highlight, I guess, is basically the sideboard package that you had talked about, Tom, being able to bring in Parallax Tide, and then having Chain of Vapors. There are some in the main and some in the sideboard, and kind of have an alternate plan against a variety of decks. So is there anything you want to say about, I guess, either of the decks real quick? Are you ready to jump down to the match?
I'm ready to do this.
Okay. All right. I will jump down. We will get things going. Oh, I got to adjust a few things. Let's find, all right. This And full screen. Okay. So our players are shuffling up. I can jump ahead a little bit. All right. I think this is close to where they start. Again, I don't know exactly where everything goes. So Rich is the higher seed, so he gets to be on the play for the first game. So Tom, do you know anything about these decks, or who do you think is going to win?
Yeah, I don't know the outcome, but I'm gonna say, without saying it, who I have winning. All right, 1 second. Okay, let's go.
Is that supposed to mean something to people?
Come on, man.
The glaciers that you have your parka on?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Raging Glaciers.
All right.
Let's go.
Is that like wishful thinking, or do you think that there's an actual advantage, like given the deck matchup?
You can't root for Dreadnought. I love Rich. You can't root for Dreadnought. I've been a salty Premodern player lately, so got to go with the good guy.
Okay.
And Phil's awesome too. I mean, they're both awesome, right? I just, come on.
I will agree.
I'm full transparency tonight, man. I'm letting it loose.
Yeah, nothing against Rich, but I definitely will say that I think Phil is the good guy in this matchup. So,
hell yeah.
How cold is it by you right now? Do you have snow on the ground?
No, but it's freezing. I think it's like 20 degrees.
Which stadium? I thought it was the Bills stadium that had like 8 million inches of snow. Was that was the Bills, right?
Oh yeah, the Bills. Yeah.
Okay.
Here in Jersey, no snow.
Okay.
It's just freezing, but I really can't stand it. By Wisconsin's got to be freezing.
It is cold. It is. I guess it's 23 degrees right now. It was too cold for me to put my Christmas lights up this weekend. That's all I could say. Rich is going to start things off with an island, and Phil has the namesake Thawing Glaciers right away. His second turn, I guess end of turn, Rich had an opt, and then he's just going to add another island. I guess his first choice is, does he want to turbo out a Dreadnought in this matchup? And I think Phil has... I'm trying to think how many copies of Naturalize he has in the main, because I think that's his biggest disincentive. Because a card like Oath of Druids, the Dreadnought just laughs in this matchup. Like, putting a Shard Phoenix in play is not going to be anything that the Dreadnought cares about.
No. And I think Phil, the only target he has for Oath is Shard Phoenix, right? So...
yes, that's his only thing. And yeah, that was his adjustment, that he's like, I wish I would have changed this. I wish I would have more targets in the sideboard, but there aren't any other creatures, so it's just the Shard Phoenix.
Yeah, I wonder if the Oath package comes out post-board too.
Yeah,
I'm jumping the gun a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely could think so. So here we have... Oh, was this just like a presented Dreadnought that the vision chart?
Okay. The problem there was turn 1 island, turn 1 Phil's turn 1 tapped Thawing Glaciers. Not a good situation you want to be at playing against Dreadnought.
Well, I guess I can bring up the deck list now, because we could talk about sideboarding, because we are already going into game 2. So,
yeah.
All right. So first, let's look at the sideboard. Let's look at the sideboard of Phil. So there is two red elemental blasts, 2 pyroblasts, 2 overload, 2 more naturalize, 2 call the herd, or 4 call the herd, 2 Phyrexian Furnace, a Tormod's Crypt, and an elephant token. So a lot of these cards seem really good.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I could see all the blasts, the overloads, the naturalize, and the call the herds. I could see all those coming in.
What is that? So 12 cards in, 12 cards out, right? So you take out Oath, the 4 Oath, the 2 Shard Phoenix, 2 Lava Dart, probably the Incinerates, and maybe a couple Incinerates in and just take out discs, but completely different deck heading into game 2.
Yeah, so okay, I would take out Oaths, 2 Shard Phoenix, 2 Lava Dart, so that's 8 cards. The next worst cards, because like Disc is slow, but it like if you get ahead of it, it at least could kill a Dreadnought. Like it still like demands an answer. I don't I guess you could take out.
Is it gonna like when's it gonna resolve? That's the problem, right?
Well,
Stifle
I guess when you have like pillages, naturalizes, overloads, blasts, and powder kegs, like the game is likely going to go on. Like you're like Rich needs to respect the ability to remove a Dreadnought, and then like that is going to naturally make the game go longer. And I think the discs stay in. I guess that's my my gut, but.
No, I get it. I mean,
like I think burn spells are worse, or like Gaia's Blessing is worse. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean disc against just the Daze Stifle deck is concerning. But what else? There's a lot of bad cards in this. Going to the matchup.
I guess I'll note real quick. It is kind of funny that like we know that there's Brain Freeze in the sideboard. I don't think this is necessarily a matchup where Rich wants to transform into a Brain Freeze deck, but Phil does have the Gaia's Blessing as that natural counter. But yeah. So let's bring up Rich's sideboard.
It's open list for top 8, right?
Yes. They know what they have. So 3 Annul, 2 Blue Elemental Blast, 2 Hydroblast, 3 Parallax Tide, a Chain of Vapor, a Powder Keg, Flash of Insight, Misdirection, and a Brain Freeze. I think I'd be bringing in the Tide package here. So that would be a Chain of Vapor and the 3 Tides. It's interesting, like the Red Blasts, because most of the, I guess there's 4 Naturalize, and then like the artifacts, like there's 2 Overload, and then the Red Blasts. Those are like the important red cards. So the Blue Blasts like have some targets, but like the burn spells I don't think are that important. I don't know how important the Blue Blasts are. And then
it might only be like not all of them, Mike, but maybe just to battle his Pyroblast, because he's bringing all 4 in.
Yeah, and I like Annul.
I
mean, I like Annul that you could bring those in against the Powder Kegs and the what I think the discs stay in. I'm not sure what cards they're taking out. I guess maybe just like Ops and Portents. If you just like if all your cards are good, then maybe like just like okay, I'll just take out some of the filtering. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Or maybe you take out some of the more expensive counter spells, like the foils or the counter spells, and add like the Annuls and the Hydroblasts. But let's jump back down to the match. I might have to make some adjustments to this thing reset, so I need to find our place again. All right, let's.
All right, come on, Phil.
Did this? Okay, this did reset, so I need to find where. So we're gonna go through game 1 real quick. And hopefully we don't have to watch them shuffle too much. All right, so up super quick game 1. I would say like I was just kind of settling in, like thinking like, all right, we're gonna have a little bit, and then all of a sudden they're like physically picking up their cards. It wasn't even like something that I got to see like an attack from a Dreadnought a couple times, so I definitely was thrown off with how quickly that game resolved.
Yeah, it's almost like you weren't ready for it, right? But it's definitely, I don't know, kind of expected.
Yeah.
Definitely just game 1 seems miserable for
Yeah, it's one of the interesting things like with the Dreadnought deck is like you can be in general, I think you're more aggressive in game 1s, but especially like when the deck lists are public and like the math that it's like, all right, this is advantageous for me to just to go for it and just end a game super quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely one of the benefits of like the Dreadnought deck is it's just like so powerful that you just get, it's so nice like when you just up a game and like and you have the potential to do it right away in game 2. Free wins are always nice. Which I feel like the Raging Glaciers deck probably does not get very many free wins. I think it's got to earn its wins a lot more.
No, I mean the deck is definitely grindy.
Yeah.
Love decks like that though, because there's just so much back and forth and like skill involved. Like I bet you will like a lot of games, Phil. I mean, he finished 7-1, very impressive. But I bet you a lot of it comes down to just him at a low life total and like catching up and getting ahead like very late in the game.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a deck where you have to pilot well. I think there's also like certain matchups where it just seems like a lot of things are out of your control, which I think is like that's a tough feeling, a pill to swallow for some people. But like, yeah, the games you do win, you're like navigating certain spots and earning your wins, which is always it's a nice feeling.
Oh, for sure. And I think in this matchup in particular, right, Rich just wants to win as fast as possible. Dreadnought's long game usually isn't that great, but
I mean, certainly, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. I think that there are a lot of the ability to shape your hand and have a lot of counter spells. I think the Dreadnought does a decent job of going in the late game. It depends on the amount of interaction your opponent has, and then the other aspect I would say the counter argument is with the Tide plan of bringing in Parallax Tide and having Chain of Vapor. You could play a long game because you have a way to attack their mana, and then suddenly they could have multiple ways to kill your Dreadnought, but they're not going to be able to deploy them in time because they just don't have the mana.
Oh no, yeah, I should have been more clear. I meant specifically just against Phil's deck because I mean he brought in Furnace, right? So I think he may have brought all 15 cards in except for the Torment Script.
Yeah,
just 14.
Yeah, and my guess is this Furnace is. I mean, it does interact with a card like Flash of Insight, but I think it's more of just a way of like I have cards that are underperformers, and this is able to replace itself like when it needs to, and so it's a really low opportunity cost card to put in your deck.
No, for sure. All right, so let's see, Rich Island.
All right, I don't see that either player is keeping track of life, so we'll need to be very alert if Phil is coming in with like Treetop Villages, because if I lose track, then it'll be bothering me the entire match.
Okay.
I think Rich attacking will be pretty straightforward. I guess he has Mishra's Factory, but it's usually in chunks of 12, so.
All right, Portent doesn't shuffle. Guess it back.
Did you play in the Fall Brawl?
Yes, played Reanimator.
Okay.
It was 3-1, and I think I finished 4-4.
Okay.
I had a sweet list, man. It just not good enough.
What was the new technology?
Read the runes.
Okay.
Yeah, which was really, really good. But
are you trying to play a little bit of a longer game, or is it just you're able to convert like your mana sinks into more cards?
It's like mainly for the longer game, but it's a way to like pitch also. It's got Symbiotic Worm tech, or synergy, but yeah, it's not good enough.
Okay.
Can't play that deck in this format.
All right, call the herd token in play. Elephant token attacking.
Yep, get the clock going.
Yes. So Rich will fall to 17.
I love that Call the Herd is just like such a good card right now, and rightfully so. Right?
I think it's funny how like there was a time where the card was just not good, but also it's kind of weird how certain cards have like ebbed and flowed in the metagame. So yes, I would agree that Call the Herd is very good right now.
Yes.
All right, so Nevinyrral's Disc has come into play. It oddly is untapped right now. Not very relevant because I don't think it's going to be activated with no mana, but yeah, I think that one normally comes into play tapped. Nevinyrral.
I was like Phil playing that untapped all tournament.
Yeah, card's a little bit better.
He knows. It's funny.
Oh, maybe it was on the stack. It was maybe what they were saying.
Wait, is it really too good? Is it like? I mean, I know there's a lot of mistakes early on, right? Did it have to come into play tapped? Like, what are we doing?
I think because, like, if we're talking about old theory design, it, especially like being a colorless card, I think it's better that way. That like you could destroy it in theory, like before you'd be able to untap with it.
No, I gotcha. Okay, so Tide. Oh no. Okay. Here we go. Mike, I'm not happy about Parallax Tide, man. I know I'm really not. Just oh man.
Is Parallax Tide part of the reason that you're salty about Premodern?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think that Parallax Tide's a huge problem. When a format is warped around Parallax Tide, or specifically just a one-sided Armageddon, which is really difficult to interact with, there's a problem. I just think that I don't want to get into the whole go down these rabbit holes, but I just think there's a problem.
I think this elephant's attacked twice. I'm going to put Rich at 14.
Yeah, no, I think he's a 14.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure we give them the credit these guys deserve. Because I got to say, Rich, amazing player, right? Crushing it with this deck. And then Phil, also a great player with such a sweet list.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the Tide loses a counter.
Yeah, this is one of the things, usually it's the light is at the end of the tunnel. You're like, I'm going to get my lands back. But when the Stifle deck, they're probably not coming back.
No. There's a good chance they're not. Rick, I don't think Rich is making that play. There's no reason to do it unless you have the piece of interaction to make sure that they don't get their lands back.
I guess,
especially not in this situation, because there's no. I mean, he's got the clock coming in, right? I think he's got 11, but I just,
Yeah, that's the biggest plus, is that he has at least something attacking, and has the disc in play. I mean, so if Rich were to present a Dreadnought, he'd have to spend 2 cards, and Phil has an answer. So Rich needs to have either 2 copies of Stifle or 2 copies of Vision Charm, or one of each, to get the Dreadnought into play and then protect it against the disc.
Yeah, but I mean, Phil, he's got the clock, right? He can make a comeback right now. Because Rich doesn't really have much going on.
All right, so I think that was another attack. I think Rich is at 8.
Yep.
A end of turn Flash of Insight.
This flash for 1, right? But it's not really what he cares about.
Yeah, this is not the Starship aspect, I guess, of Flash of Insight. That
flash for 1.
Yeah. Get really excited about cards that cycle.
But yeah, Phil's position isn't horrible. I think it's good that his deck runs 26 or 27 land or whatever it is.
Sure.
Right. Oh yeah, there we go. That's why you bring in Furnace.
Get rid of that Flash. Right, that is a Chain of Vapor. Is that on the token?
Yeah, if that resolves, it's gonna be a little devastating. I don't know how many cards Rich has in his hand, but against a Gush deck, it's gonna be worrisome. Yep, you got to fight over this. Rich really hasn't done much. You got to expect he's got a counter. Daze, okay.
And because the Phyrexian Furnace being activated, he didn't have a second mana.
Yeah.
So the Elfin gets bounced. It's gone forever. So now we're back to kind of square one, though Bill naturally has a little bit of advantage that he's already resolved the disc, but Rich has a lot of ability to churn through his deck and kind of shape a hand that would be able to deal with it in the form of a second copy of Vision Charm or a second Stifle. For either of those activate well against the disc. Oh, all right. Well, here is a roundabout way, I guess, if you need to get rid of the disc, is a Powder Keg of your own. I can't say this is something that I expected, but
I mean, if Phil is unable to present a clock, then you have time as a luxury, and this could tick up to 4.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know, other than being able to blow up, I guess it blows up active man lands and elephant tokens.
Actually, yeah, it's pretty good, right? Because Rich just wants to buy time.
I'm trying to think if he is going to tick it up, or if this is he's saying I'm just going to have this as a way to prevent against things that attack me, which would be all of Phil's threats, and then this is just going to give me time so that I can find another Stifle or Vision Charm or whatever.
No, I think that's the right play. Yeah, just
be patient and leave it.
I think Rich is like winning that battle if he just leaves it at 0.
I mean, the one thing is if Phil just gets to 4 mana, he can flash back a Call of the Herd. He has a threat kind of built in already. He doesn't have to spend another resource really. But Chad has said that he's left it on 0 for a turn already. All right, so Rich is just adding more islands to the board. And Phil has 3 Karplusan Forests and now has played, I believe that's a Treetop Village.
Yes.
So both a 4th mana and a potential threat.
Yeah, I think Rich is like a full grip. He's got to be at 7 cards in his hand.
So if you're Rich and Phil is flashing back a Call of the Herd, is that something you would rather use permission to fight? Or is it something you're going to cash in your Powder Keg? Because it's not like Phil is going to attack with a Treetop Village and have the token in play. You're not going to get like a 2-for-1.
Yes, maybe you use the keg.
So there, Phil was casting Gaia's Blessing. I didn't see what he shuffled back.
It's a little hard to tell, just
Yeah.
with like the lighting.
I'm trying to think which cards that he's cast. I mean, it's been Phyrexian Furnace, because the lands were exiled.
Right.
I mean, it could be a Call the Herd. But wait, I still see a Furnace in the graveyard. Maybe it was less cards than I thought. Maybe it was just because it's up to 3. It's not like you have to target cards.
Right. Yeah.
But he shuffled his deck. I guess if you choose 0 cards, do you still have to shuffle? I think so. I don't know. Oh, so
That's a good question.
The Red Elemental Blast. Yeah, that definitely was a card.
Okay.
That's coming from Phil. So if he's doing it from memory and not from sight. So
Yeah. All right, so what do we got here?
Chat has confirmed that you do shuffle with 0 targets still.
Okay, so opt. Rich kept it. Chain of Vapor.
So,
I see. He bounced his own Powder Keg. I couldn't see what Phil cast there.
well, the keg is in, or the disc is in the graveyard. So was the disc activated?
Yes.
I think it was a preemptive disc to get rid of the Powder Keg, and Rich bounced his own Powder Keg so that on a future turn he's able to put it back. So this is an attack from the Treetop Village. So Phil's getting aggressive. That's his line here. But the Treetop Village does get in. So I think
Rich is at 5, but now the Powder Keg comes down, and there is a Mishra's Factory.
Rich covering all angles here.
Yeah, the factory always does a good job on defense, that being able to add that extra power and toughness.
Yeah.
What if Treetop Village had that extra clause? That
it should.
That more Treetop Villages can pump it.
Now, if anyone needs it, it's the black one, Spawning Pool. That one is complete garbage.
That one could get +2/+2.
Yeah, come on, man. The regeneration clause, like what are we doing? That thing will just block for days, I guess.
Block forever, yeah.
There it is. Sick art though, right? You got like a head coming out of the swamp.
Yeah. I guess I have personally played Treetop Village, Ghitu Encampment, Phyrexian and the Fairy Conclave. I have not played the Forbidding Watchtower, though I have seen people play that in Premodern. It is the Spawning Pool that I think has eluded me in the Premodern seed. Nobody has played Spawning Pool.
So you're missing out. You should add it to your rock list.
I'm already maxed out on Treetop Villages, so maybe. I guess I currently only played 3 Mishra's Factory, so I think I need to add the 4th Mishra's Factory before I play the first Spawning Pool. But
true. Or you can board into it when you need it, you know. Think of a valuable sideboard slot.
All right, well, I guess
hard cast Gush end of turn, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and then Phil has a lightning bolt, and so I guess one advantage of the early chip damage that Phil has done this game, getting him down to 5, is those burn spells, which in general are not very impressive against a 12/12. Being able to potentially kill Rich is pretty scary. So this bolt, I think, is still on the stack. And yeah, Rich is going to point a Hydroblast at it. He wants to stay above 3, if he can help it. Well, there's a second bolt, so this is either going to be more counter magic out of Rich's hand, or he's going to be in the scary life total of 2. Ooh, and then, like, because Urza's Rage, right, can't be countered, right? Or is that only when it's kicked?
No, it can't be countered. It's just when it's kicked, it does 10, I think, right?
Yeah, I know there's a clause that can't be prevented. I don't know if that's.
I'm pretty sure the big thing in standard was it just could never be countered.
Can't be countered by spells or abilities. All right, so here's what's going to happen: a lethal Urza's Rage, but Rich is going to have a misdirection and be able to misdirect it back at Phil.
Oh my god. That would be horrible. With the bolts did not resolve, right? Both of them.
Oh no, I missed that. I see a Gush. I don't see what the other counterspell was.
Yeah, chat. Do you know was that resolved? I'm not sure.
A regular old counterspell. Okay, I don't think it resolved. I think Counterspell was played.
Okay.
Oh, never mind. He was talking to to chat.
Oh. If Rich might be at 2.
Yes. I think he is. All right, we'll do it for maximum suspense. Oh, he's at 5. Wait. I'm only going by what chat tells me.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, the first one got Hydroblasted. The second one, got Counterspelled. All right, so he is at 5.
Oh, come on, Rich. We want to play, take more risks. Look at the sweet art Urza's Rage. Look at that, man.
Yes.
So sick.
There was... I'm trying to think of the other card. It's like a 3-mana artifact that can pump creatures that also has like the same little machine guy on it. I mean, it's on a number of cards from the invasion block.
Yeah.
We have Pillage being cast. So is this targeting the Powder Keg? Oh no, there's a misdirection.
Oh no.
So not saving it for the Urza's Rage, using it on the Pillage.
And did he hit his treetop? What did he hit?
Well, so I'm going to assume that. Well, it depends. So if you're targeting an artifact, which would have been
Oh, it
Powder
has to be
Keg,
an artifact.
yeah,
Okay. Right.
you're not able to choose a new mode. You're just able to choose new targets. So if he was targeting the Mishra's Factory, which would be funny if it was an active Mishra's Factory, then you'd have the choice. I guess, yeah, because you would choose the mode of artifact, and then it wouldn't be able to be redirected to a land. But yes, Treetop Village was destroyed.
Wait, no, maybe. Wait, is someone saying you can use treetop? You can hit the tree. Because wait, I don't know if do you select a mode or you just. I'm not sure if that's how it works.
I guess you're right. It's not like choose one. It is.
So maybe you can misdirect it to anything.
Yeah, I do think that's right.
Huh.
All right, so Naturalize is going to target this Powder Keg, and that does resolve. So the Powder Keg's gone. So we're currently fighting, trying to get rid of ways to prevent the man lands from coming in. But the Ghitu Encampment doesn't line up particularly well against Mishra's Factory, given that the Mishra's Factory can be 3 toughness, while the Ghitu Encampment is only a 2/1 for striker. Yes, Power Armor. I think that was the card I was thinking of.
Power Armor. Yeah, like pull that one up. This game's been good though. I like the back and forth, the stacks.
Yeah, there's been a lot of interaction from both players that they have.
Yeah.
This art's way worse than Urza's Rage.
Oh yeah, that's not great.
Sorry, Doug. Sorry, Doug.
Look up. I don't know if it's Void. Look up Void.
Oh yeah. That's the other one.
That one's sick.
I have a Void in the sideboard of one of my decks in the Super Gauntlet.
Oh no way! I don't even know what it does.
Choose a number, destroy all artifacts and creatures with that number, and then they showed their hand and they discard all cards with that converted mana cost.
Oh, okay.
It's a Burning Wish deck. I have a couple copies, and so there's one in the sideboard.
That's sick.
I don't think I've ever Burning Wished for it though.
It's just there to look good.
Yeah, it does do a good job of that.
Yeah.
Do you have any cards that you end up like putting in your 75 that are just the cheerleaders? They don't really come in very often, but you like them. Tom's like, I actually like to play my cards instead of just having them.
No, sometimes.
What is your guilty pleasure card? Do you have like one that's just like it's not as good as what you think? It's better than what people think, or it's just not good, but you still play it?
I might need time to think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Ooh, there's the second Misdirection. So that was that another copy of Pillage?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. So that one redirected it onto the Ghitu Encampment. I would say
yes.
I have no idea what Phil's life is. I know he has Karplusan Forest as his main source of colored mana, but I have not been able to keep track of the number of pings that he's taken. So
no, me either. But I think it's just funny against Dreadnought. Doesn't like if you're not gaining life or something, it's,
yeah,
sort of irrelevant.
Unless he's like 12 or less. But
yeah. All right, what do we got? 4 mana.
Your favorite card?
Oh yeah. All right, Phil, what are we doing?
He definitely wants to have an answer to this. Otherwise, this game is.
Yeah.
I would say it's locked up, but like it certainly gives Rich a ton of breathing room. So he does have the Pyroblast.
Oh, nice.
And it is countered. So Rich has 3 cards, maybe 4. I can't tell if it's 3 or 4.
Looks like 4 cards.
That would be my guess. Yes. One really fat rectangular card or square card. No, okay. I think I see 4 points there.
Yeah. Or do you have like a? I mean, I'm assuming Void is not your pet card in the sideboard, but do you have
No.
one?
I have a lot of guilty pleasure cards. I guess there's so many. Like I'll say Howling Mine is one that I like playing a lot more than other people. Like I put it in
Okay.
Stasis decks. I have it in my Atog Fling deck. I was just thinking of a Turbo Land or type deck or a taking turns deck with Howling Mine is what I was thinking. So I would say Howling Mine is the first one I think of. There's a lot of cards that I think would fit under that category of my pet cards. I mean, I guess you could say there's probably some random green creature that I play in my Junk Zoo list a lot. Thornscape Apprentice, I don't know. I played that guy a lot.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'd go with like Zombie Infestation. I put it in Psychotog. Think it's good against Burn and Goblins, and that's about it. But it's not even amazing.
I like Zombie Infestation. I definitely thought about it in like Psychotog lists, especially.
Yeah.
Also, Dreadnought lists, like the blue-black one, is a way to like instead of having one big threat, you can make 3 small threats, and then suddenly the game changes. All right, trying to focus on here. Ooh, we have a Flash of Insight. This is much closer to a Starship, I would say, right?
This is it. This is what Rich was trying to tell everyone about.
This is the front. Well, I was to say like he's doing the hard work to get it to the Starship status. This is man, they're just 1, 2, 10 lands in play, so this is for 8. It's not often that you're like more excited about the front half of Flash of Insight instead of the back half, but here we are. I guess the Furnace has been out of play long enough that maybe I guess I don't know how many blue cards are in the graveyard. It might be stacked.
Yep, and then in response, did he Dust Bowl the factory? I think, which is solid play. And we haven't seen a Dreadnought. I wonder if he boards out like 2.
It's interesting because I guess I could see that like if like the game you're expecting to go along that like you have to protect the ones that you play anyways, so it's like you don't want multiples to sit in your hand and clog it up that you'd have to discard anyways. So I could see that. It is a little like scary though. Like I guess I'm trying to think if Rich ever does he have Brain Freeze as a backup plan? It seems so weird if you would do that against the Guy's Blessing deck, but I mean you do have Stifles, so all right, this Flash of Insight. I think there's 15 cards left in his deck. I think this is about 7 or 8. Maybe I miscounted. All right, Lanny has said that Rich had Brain Freeze against me in the PSS when he was playing Parfait, which also had Guy's Blessing, so...
Yeah, I mean, he could stifle the blessing triggers, right?
Yeah.
Interesting game, though.
Yeah, it's... I guess, especially like if Phil has... Creature lands... Oh, so the Ghitu Encampment gets attacked, but it's a red creature, a red permanent when it's attacking, so that turns on for the red Elemental Blast.
Heads up play by Rich there.
Unfortunate for the... It's like, he's like, all right, Treetop Village gets all its time in the sun. It's to just steal the show always. Here I go. I get to finish out this game. Nope. Red Elemental Blast. And Treetop Village is just waiting there, so he's going to get all the glory.
So Lanny said the big issue with Rich is you can't rely on factory. No, it totally makes sense. So he's got to have Dreadnought. I just wonder, we haven't seen one. Yeah, I just have a feeling there's either one or two left. I don't know. Which makes sense in some senses, but Tide can modify Dust Bowl playing. Yeah. Now I wonder how rich sideboards in this matchup. I honestly have no idea.
Like anytime you play like the blue cards, I feel like there's I won't say there's like a right and a wrong way, or that there's not a right and a wrong way, but there's a little bit of like personal taste. Like it's kind of how you want to play it. So
yeah, sure.
can anyone read the die? No, I don't think the resolution is high enough. All right. Phil had confirmed that the flashback of Call the Herd was countered a while ago, so there's not. I was just assuming that there was a Call the Herd in the graveyard from turn like 3, but.
Mm-hmm.
Chat is thinking that it's 9-5. All right, that's good enough for me. I'll adjust the life total. Suddenly, Phil is good. He's taken 10 points of damage from his lands over very small increments of Karplusan Forest doing work.
All right, so Phil tries to naturalize the Tide.
Oh man, he's now at 8 factorial. He gained a lot of life.
Yep.
Robin, I will say I thought it was Gabe that made the comment at first, and I thought it would be much more fitting to correct him in that sense than you. But I'll let my joke stand.
All right, well, Rich resolved the Dreadnought.
All right, but I mean, we've like naturalizes, overloads, pillage. There's lots of ways to get rid of it post board for Phil. So not all of them are efficient. Like Pillage is a pretty clunky card to cast in this situation.
Well, Rich got 3 cards. I'm going to assume that all 3 of them might be Vision Charm.
Chad has asked if this is a best 2 out of 3 or best 3 out of 5. I believe the players chose to play a best 2 out of a 3 given their schedules, I think. So I almost positive that's what they did. So
all right, Phil's got 2 cards in hand. I think Rich has 3, tries to naturalize. Oh, it resolves. All right.
Okay. Kind of surprising, but I mean, you can't always.
Yeah, I thought Rich was gonna have a lot of ways to protect the Dreadnought.
I guess we'll say like we're at the point where Rich is under pressure, like his life total is being pressured. So it's like he doesn't have all the time in the world. So he's like, okay, I need to assemble a Dreadnought. 1, it could just be for a defensive measure, and 2, he wants to close out the game. He might not have the luxury of being able to find a counterspell which to protect it, which was the case. So Naturalize takes it down, and then we have a Wooded Foothills.
Treetop getting in. Yeah. All right, Rich is at 2.
All right, Rich does not find an answer, and then Phil
sick game, man.
Able to even things up. I mean, it took a lot of work. I mean, which is expected. We talked about that there are no free wins for the Raging Glaciers deck, but yeah, having a ton of stuff to do there. Just a lot of cards to interact, and then also like having threats that can't be countered. I mean, the Treetop Villages and Ghitu Encampments being able just to come down and chip in, and Rich has to use a very specific card. I mean, in general, like your counter magic, you like can cover any type of card, but given that the lands aren't cast, Rich is forced to find Powder Keg specifically. I guess Parallax Tide would work.
He overcame 3 tides, 2 that resolve. I mean, yeah, great play by both. Like that was great to watch.
Yeah, I would say. I think there's a refresh for the players. We're talking about Tide being this unbearable boogeyman, and here Phil's just fighting at the fairway, like just outlasting it. So
Yeah, we were wrong. It's not an issue. Lanny, I missed that comment. Something about why Rich didn't stifle. Was he out of stifle?
Was he out of stifles?
Possibly.
Curious why Rich didn't cash in the stifle on the Tide when Phil went for Naturalize.
So he cast 3 stifles. I don't think stifle would be one. I don't think he would board out one of those. I'm just pumped. There's game 3. I was hoping this was going to be the case.
Yeah.
Who was the higher seed?
Rich is the higher seed. Rich is the 4 and Phil is the 5.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, that's right. Rich is on the play. Okay.
Where can I find the deck lists? I would join the Premodern Facebook group. I had made a post with all the top 8 players that has all the deck lists. That would be the easiest way, I think. I need to know. I feel like Twitch would have an extension that I could just like have on my stream like at all times, and then whatever decks are playing, like I would just have the deck lists there. But I'll say I haven't really searched that hard. What I had in mind is like I've seen it like on the Pokemon stream that like they have like you click this link and it shows like a bunch of information about all their streaming stuff, and that would be like a really easy way for me to just always have deck lists available. I guess there's other extensions that I could use, but it's one of those things. It's like it's just another thing for me to update every time I stream, and it's like when there's so many moving pieces that sometimes I either forget or it just feels so laborious. But
Pokemon stream, the base fossil content, right?
Yeah. That'd be really cool if they did like a official retro tournament.
That would be so sick.
But
like me and you would probably be there playing.
Yeah. Have you played Pokemon Pocket, TCG Pocket?
No, actually, Jared messaged me the other day randomly. Wait, it's weird. Him and I talk pretty frequently, right? But like usually on like Messenger or something.
Yeah.
He just randomly messaged me on Discord, and like the first time ever on Discord, he's like, "Do you play Pokemon Pocket?"
Yeah.
I was like, "What the hell is that?"
Oh, you don't even know what it is? Okay.
Well, no, I think it was like he might have sent like a link too, and I was like, "Dude, is this like some spam? What's going on here?"
It came out like at the very end of October is when it went live, and so it's an app on the phone, and it's like a very, I don't know if watered down is the right way to put it, but it's like a simplified version of the card game. So your deck is 20 cards, but your energy is not part of it. It's like a separate thing. Mm-hmm. And there's like obviously new cards that they designed, and you only take like 3. It's essentially prizes, but it's called points, and I've been entertained. I mean, like it's a very limited card pool, and it's like there's already been like some shifts in the metagame which people did not expect at all, because they're like, oh, these 2 decks are the best, and things have changed. I always appreciate like really basic gameplay that has some amount of depth, which I feel like it kind of hits those notes. I don't think it's a perfect game, but I've been enjoying it. So
that sounds pretty good. Doesn't sound as good as pre-Fire Modern, but yeah, we'll just check out this.
Are you gonna sell that to everybody? So Fran had made that video. I guess that's pretty much my exposure. Is I know Fran made a video. Is he the creator of that format?
Yeah, he is. He paid me to come on here and talk about it. No, it's really good. You should check it out, man. It's really good. Okay, let's see here. Turn 2 Powder Keg resolves.
Powder Keg from Phil's side. Most of the time we had seen it on Rich's side's last game, so.
Yeah. Robin said I spent way too much money on pre-fire. I'm priced in. So no, I bought a bunch of stuff too. So yeah, we'll just blame Fran. But I don't see the format dying. It actually just reminds me of kind of like how Premodern started and where it's going to be going. Um,
All right, early call the herd.
Phil's got a good start here.
Is this resolved? Looks like it. Elephant token in play. Flash of Insight for 1. Starship status not acquired yet. cycling mode activated.
Oh wait, Mike, what do you like, the Invasion Elephant or the Odyssey Elephant?
I like the Invasion one a little bit more. They're very close, but I think I like the Invasion one just a little bit more.
I like the Odyssey one. Because I think it ties more into,
Sure.
Call of the Herd. It's Odyssey,
Yep.
But they're both good.
We should note the Parallax Tide that came down and exiled all Phil's land. He adds a treetop village after that, but unless Rich doesn't have a Stifle, these lands are going to be gone forever.
This might be rough. Kind of feels like, like Rich kind of got him right in the spot where he wanted him to be.
Yeah, I mean,
but not that Phil could really do much about it. I mean, it really depends on what's in his hand.
Yeah, the saving grace is there is an elephant token in play again. That like Rich, he does have a Mishra's Factory. He could be willing to trade the factory for the elephant token, but it's a huge difference to if there's just no threat on the board and having that 3/3. It just changes how Rich needs to, like how quickly he needs to act. It's really different. Is this the first or I think this is the second attack.
Yeah, he might be at 14.
Okay.
All right, what we got, Phil? Another Powder Keg.
All right, so Powder Keg on 1, Powder Keg on 0. I guess 1 for Dreadnought. Would there be, I guess 2 would blow up other Powder Kegs. And I think 0 is probably a better number for Mishra's Factory, but it also gets rid of your token. Are there any other relevant numbers? It doesn't hit enchantments, so it's not like going to 4 does anything.
Yeah, no, he's probably going to keep him at 1 and 0.
Yeah, because you can always like tick. I guess it's awkward, like ticking one up to 2 when there's 2 in play. But would Powder Keg be better or worse if it came into play with a counter?
Oh, worse.
Worse.
Yeah. It'd be cool. It'd be cool if we had something like Ratchet Bomb, though.
Yeah, I mean, well,
right. Like, that's another thing. Why only artifacts and?
Well, that's like a thing that like certain colors couldn't destroy enchantments.
Oh wait, right. They didn't just like go off the rails with card design, I guess.
Though, I mean, Nevinyrral's Disc exists in the format, so maybe that's not a good justification. But I don't know.
True, but it comes into play tapped, Mike. that was the difference. And double the mana, so I guess those are the prices you have to pay.
Yeah. Ratchet Bomb does not blow up Treetop Village, though.
Yeah, it's non-land permanents, right?
Yeah.
Isn't there a new Ratchet Bomb that's better?
There's like a legendary one or something. I don't remember the name. I know what card you're talking about.
Yeah. All right. Casting Call of the Herd. He's got a counter. Yep, counter that one. Rich definitely needs to like preserve his life total now. Oh, huge flash of insight.
Huge. Was it how?
Yeah.
I was looking at mana, and I guess this is the flashback one. So,
no, not explosives. I think I thought there's a better Ratchet Bomb.
There's one where like it does the same thing, but it can get like 10 oil counters or something. Is that the one you're thinking of?
I know what it is. It's something Silex. All right, so Chain of Vapor. What's he targeting?
Elephant token.
Yeah, this is Phil's upkeep, I think. No, not Phil's upkeep.
Oh, so did he target something of his own first that he sacked a land? Did he bounce a Tide?
Oh, wait, is that what happened? Yeah,
Oh,
he's just
so he didn't have a
casting-
Stifle. So
Okay.
they're gonna come back, but he's like, oh, I want this back in my hand. Okay. It's harder to commentate when you're like not looking at the screen and just trying to think of what this random 2-mana artifact is.
It has nothing to do with the game.
Filigree Silex. I believe that is the one.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it.
Thank you, Gabe.
Another Flash of Insight.
I do like the little bit of tension that like Flash of Insight that you don't always want to do it for all the cards in the graveyard if you have extra copies of it, but most people just do it for the full amount. Oh no, I've not been paying attention. How many times has this elephant attacked?
I don't know if I think he may still be at 14.
Oh, I guess it got bounced, right?
Yeah, and
Okay.
Yeah. All right, Tide again.
Rich is at 11. All right. I would just believe whatever chat tells me.
Yeah.
So.
Oh no, the Tide's resolving.
I don't know. Phil's fought through all these tides before. He might be willing to do it again, or I don't know if "willing" is the right word, but. All right, tokens coming in. That gets in for 3.
Now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Raging Glaciers are resilient, like I mentioned earlier, right? Like, were we talking about it? The lands aren't coming back.
Yep.
But
Stifle's here this time.
Yeah, but he runs 26. I think 26, 27 land. I think.
It's funny when you like boil Phil's like post sideboard deck down. It's just like all answers to a dreadnought and then like a few threats. It is so it's just like Naturalize overload, like blasts the kegs, the discs, the pillages. It's just like
I love it.
Just like 24 copies of cards that blow up a dreadnought. And then there's Treetop Villages, Ghitu Encampment, and Call of the Herd.
Well, I think Rich might be at 5, and we got Lethal on board next turn.
Yeah, I guess the Ghitu Encampment gets in with the elephant.
All right, so he's got Pyroblast. No, I just say just let it go anyway. With Lethal on board, you want to save anything you have for anything that stops it, right?
All right, well, a Tide will get rid of the Ghitu Encampment, so it's just a token. I guess if you have a Chain of Vapor here, that's really good, right? Because you can bounce, bounce, and then also kill the token. Because you target your Tide first, and then you control the copy, and then you could sack a land to. You lose 3 lands, I'll lose 1. I'll get rid of your lands and your elephant.
That would be devastating. Phil's thinking. Well, it has a counter on. He's got the dice on there. I'm assuming it resolved.
Yeah, that's a good indication that it is. Yeah.
Unless Rich is just hoping.
I guess because you could fight the Chain of Vapor.
That's true. Let's see.
So could Rich like exile the red source and then pass phases and then and then exile the other ones?
Yeah, no, I think he can. But he's
I mean,
for his
like
island back.
it means that Phil would get back the mountain after
Right.
doing his trick, but it would guarantee that Pyroblast wouldn't be a counter to his Chain of Vapor, right? We do see the chain. It looked like Rich had targeted a few of his own lands, right? So this
Yes.
is like stack triggers where he's able to basically untap some of his lands.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Oh wait, he got the token.
Okay. Oh no, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, two of them are untapped. Okay.
Oh no.
All right. Well, Phil has a bolt.
Okay.
Is this going to resolve? I mean, this one would put him at 2, we think. I'm not 100% sure, but
Yeah.
we think he's at 5.
I think if he counters this, he's definitely at 5. But if he's at 8, I guess he just let it go.
He counters it.
Okay. We might be right with light totals then.
So, Rich, how does he win with a Dreadnought, though? Like, he has to, like, there's 2 kegs, and, like, he could just, Phil could have both of them on one. And now you could have
another keg. A lot of inevitability.
You could have 3 of them on one. Like, as soon as a Dreadnought comes play, he could tick those up to 1. And then, like, for each of those, like, Rich would need a Stifle or a Vision Charm.
Mm-hmm.
Does Rich switch into a Brain Freeze plan? That feels like the more likely route to victory, right? Like, I guess his own Powder Keg could tick up to 2 and then get rid of all of these. That is a way of him to stay on the Dreadnought plan and get rid of these. But beyond a Powder Keg of his own, I don't see Rich winning with Dreadnought. Is there a card I'm not thinking about?
No, this is. I don't know how Rich is going to get out of it now. Thinking about it like this.
Do you think like Rich is secretly thinking he's like, oh yes, now I have to kill you with Brain Freeze. This is exactly what I wanted.
Right.
I'm not making fun of Rich. I also love to kill people with Brain Freeze. So
it is a great way to win.
yeah. So earlier, Rich's lands were like at the bottom of his playmat. And now they've moved up. Maybe it was just after a tide. If that's part of like high tide and low tide, is that where we're at? Or do you think it's just like Rich is like, all right, this is the end of the game. Now we're like closing in. I got to get aggressive with my lands.
It's a good question. Isn't this against the rules?
I don't know.
Right? I thought you're not allowed to do this anymore.
I think
stop the game.
It definitely was like feature match things. I know. I don't know if it applied to everything. They might have switched it too.
I thought there was a rule now where you have to have your permanent not lands behind your, I guess, creatures and whatever you want to call them.
Chad is at how many spells do you typically need to kill with Brain Freeze? Well, if it's an early point of the game, it's like 17, because that would be 30 plus 21. That's 51 cards. But here, this game's gone a lot of turns. So I don't know how many you would need right now.
The Adrian Sullivan rule. Yeah, that's it. No,
Yeah.
I think it wasn't Adrian Sullivan that's what he does. But there was a Dryad Arbor rule.
Well, Adrian would also put his cards upside down so that like your opponent, they would be upside down from his perspective, and so everything would be facing the same orientation for the opponent. The reason it was Adrian would play with such like unique cards that his opponents would always have to pick up the cards, and this is like back in the old days, and without people playing with sleeves or like play mats, and they would like drag it across the table like when they would like look at it, and so he's like, I don't want people like damaging the cards, so like when he would like have them oriented that way, they would just like pick it up and read it, and so I think that was the origin of his positioning of the cards. It wasn't something like I'm doing this to tilt people. I think that was what some people thought, but that was not the case.
Yeah, no, I think the land rule too is because of Dryad Arbor.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was against Gabe Nassif, I think.
It was. So we'll need to tell Rich right now to bring those lands back.
Yeah. Here, should I just like here, we'll just go like this. There we go. Thanks, Rich.
That is funny.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got a treetop village, and there's 2 lands, but there is a Mishra's factory. But that factory just came down, right?
It did. Yep.
All right.
So
there's like 1 turn. Yeah, in terms of whether Gaia's Blessing is in the deck of Phil, we've seen it. I think it was game 2. We definitely saw 1 cast.
Mm-hmm. There's no way Rich can go to a Brain Freeze plan with open deck lists.
I wouldn't say no way. See, I like a good challenge. I love trying to break this as well.
I'm just gonna remain quiet. No, I respect that. I just like I'm like very conservative.
You just need some stifles. You're trying to draw stifle anyways. Your deck's Stiflenought. You just instead of targeting your Dreadnought, you're just targeting the Gaia's Blessing trigger.
Yeah, fuck it. Forget about all the necessary things. Just you only live once, Mike.
Yeah. Oh, we got a Gush cast the hard way.
Oh, that's the best way.
The best way.
And main phase too, right? It's funny hard casting Gush as an instant is the best way, but then as a sorcery is definitely, passing your eye on it's a sorcery. Gush is a sorcery. There's a book on Gush, right?
Yes. Have you read it? I haven't.
No.
Understanding Gush by Stephen Menendian. How many cards in Rich's library? That I do not have a good look on. I mean, it still looks like there's a chunk. I mean, it's hard to tell from this angle, but I mean, he's also gone through a good number of cards. I mean, if we just look at the exile zone and the graveyard and the number of permanents in play, but.
Oh, man. Four mana.
All right, Tide. Pyroblast for the Tide. Rich has got to have some amount of counter magic, right? There is a counterspell.
Yep.
And he has blue up, which likely means there's no other counterspell. So we have not seen any foils this game, is that correct? Like, or at least in the sideboard games?
He discarded one.
Okay. I was trying to think what are the cards that Rich brought out. And while
Yeah,
foil is like a super powerful card, but it's like if you get into these long games, like having 7 cards in your hand is really important. And if you had to spend 3 cards to counter one spell, then maybe that not immediate moment is like really painful. But if you ever get into a fight after that, it's hard to like because you just have less resources.
No, yeah, no, I agree. Especially against Pyroblast, right?
All right, 1 in a blue. Is Powder Keg? What are we casting here? Impulse?
Oh, wait, what's he doing? Is he attacking?
Wait, so there's an overload. Oh,
Yeah, he's attacking the factory.
interesting. All right, yeah, the overload is targeting the Mishra's factory. We have a misdirection, so this is going to go towards one of the powder kegs. So I'm interested to see like Phil had to have an idea that the misdirection was there. One is this attack from this Mishra's factory even that important? That I guess was my first question. Because I guess I don't know exactly what Phil's life total is, but I don't know if that attack mattered. But then, like, is it better to use a keg than an overload? I mean,
maybe Rich may have just baited him to get rid of a keg.
I guess the downside is like having one keg wipe out 3 of your kegs is bad. So that would be the incentive to use one of the kegs. But because if a dreadnought comes down, then you can still use overload. Like if you get rid of all the kegs, then there's nothing to misdirect. Well, I guess the Mishra's factory is there, but I think Phil maybe should have used a powder keg there to get rid of the Mishra's factory. If anything, though, chat is let's update Phil's life total according to chat, which they say 13. I don't. They are like my things on my screen are much smaller than like because I can't even get anywhere close to seeing what the numbers are at. So, and I'm guessing the resolution for you, Tom, is not good enough for you to tell what the numbers are.
No, the resolution's a little rough.
Yeah.
That's okay. We're finding a way, man.
Yeah, we're letting chat get involved. So.
Yeah. Okay, 2 kegs on 1 for Dreadnought, so Prop Phil safe using Overload. True.
All right, we have Pillage. So this Pillage, again...
He's using Misdirection to get rid of the... This is wild.
So, it's kind of the same thing. Yeah, I guess this one he didn't have the option because the 1 on 0 was already gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Phil didn't have the option to use a powder keg in that spot. But yeah, the second misdirection is really, really shining.
That's sick.
Well, we talked about how does Rich get rid of powder kegs without just having to cast a powder keg or fight through it with dreadnoughts? And I guess the answer is misdirection and overload from Phil.
No, that was sick.
All right. Factory connects. Let's put him down to 13. Or 11 from 13.
Okay, the Glacier's in play with 3 mountains.
How many lands are left in Phil's deck?
Oh, Phil's at 9.
Okay.
All right, Pyroblast the Tide. Yeah, looks like Rich is going to do the right thing. Just get his lands untapped.
Okay.
He has no...
A little bit of value.
Yeah.
Thank you for the follow from MDJ Butcher. All right, so this Mishra's Factory.
Still got a Street Top back.
Oh, that is very relevant. Bill is going to fetch. Puts him down to 8. Oh, I missed the card count of the library.
Yeah, I didn't see that. He's green for Treetop. Oh,
This is something like 13, I think, for the Flash of Insight.
Mm-hmm.
Starship mode.
This is it. But getting a mountain there means he might be out of forest. He needs green for Treetop.
Oh, does he not have a second green source right now?
That's a great question.
I don't think he does.
No, he doesn't.
And I believe Rich gets to look at the rest of his deck, which is awesome because you have access to all the cards, but then also you get to rearrange them in the order. So this is like something like you do not shuffle. You put them in the order that you want. So basically, Rich is getting to Goblin Recruiter his deck if they were all goblins. He's Limdolly's Volt. I guess what is the equivalent of this?
It's a good question.
Is there an
Limdol's Volt?
Yeah, but you shuffle from Limdol's Volt, don't you? It's all about the 5. What effect would be rearranging your library? That's what What would we call that?
Oh, Doomsday.
Okay. I mean, that's when you only have 5 cards, but okay.
I wish Doomsday was more playable.
It
was sick.
I did a cube draft the other day, and I had drafted a Doomsday deck, and I'm like, man, I want to put Doomsday in my pre-modern cube. And I'm like, I don't know if I can make it work, but I'm going to try. I'm pretty sure it's probably just worse than like card like Parallel Thoughts. Do you know what that card is?
Blue, 3 mana. It's 4 mana instant from Scourge.
No, it's 3 blue for an enchantment, and you put 7 cards from your deck in there, and you can draw from that. It's basically you have like a small deck that you can like. So if you had like a combo, you could like put those cards in that small deck and then draw from there. But all right,
gotcha.
We had.
Okay, sorry. Yeah,
what happened to the powder keg?
I don't know, but Rich has 2 Dreadnoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, 2 Dreadnoughts. They both got stifled, so they're in play. See, again, I get distracted by my weird tangents and a very relevant point. Yeah, Rich did Gush. He has the 2 islands that are at the bottom of his screen. Those are revealed in his hand. And then there's 3 unknown cards.
No.
Phil's going to show Pillage, Disc. Is that a keg? Pyroblast, Treetop Village. So technically, had the answers. It was just you can't deploy them all now. And yeah, Rich is going to have with 2 Dreadnoughts in 1 turn is going to kind of like bottleneck Phil's mana in that way, and a Dreadnought will connect, and that means that through the 3 powder kegs that we talked about being impossible, I said this was going to be a brain freeze victory. It is not, but Mono Blue Dreadnought is able to take it down, defeats the Raging Glaciers, and that was much more of a match, I guess, than I anticipated. I was expecting it to be much closer to the first game we had seen. But yeah, Phil definitely had a lot of tools to fight against the Dreadnought deck. And here we can kind of get a peek at how they sideboarded. I mean, I think we kind of got the idea from Phil that pretty much all the cards were coming in, barring, I think, the Tormod's Crypt. So maybe we just kind of learn what cards he took out. And then we see for Rich, cards coming in, the 3 Tides, 2 Misdirection, the Blasts, Flash of Insight. And then I think it's more of a question of what cards come out. That some number of foils or portents, I guess we hadn't seen.
Yeah, Rich, he navigated that well. He knew that at that point, he had to kind of walk Phil into his misdirections to get rid of the kegs. That was well done, but they both played good. That was fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I guess the chat might not know, right? We had some logistical things where your screen was small and mine was like a little blurry.
Yeah, that would be like why I like it. So when I'm streaming, I don't have like a full screen of what you guys see. It is maybe a third of the screen, and so and then the way I was showing Tom, it was a lower resolution, so we could not see the life totals. So thank you, chat, for helping us out, I guess, on keeping tabs of where the players were at, because yeah, the life totals were much more relevant, I think, than we thought. I mean, I guess given that Phil went below 12, I guess when you put 2 Dreadnoughts into play, I guess maybe that doesn't matter as much in that game. But certainly chipping Rich's life total down, and that his life total is always relevant. So
yeah, but what a match, man! Mike, thanks for having me on to commentate. I had fun.
Yeah.
Chat, thanks for tuning in. Congrats, Rich. Congrats, Phil.
Yeah, so that was our 4th quarterfinals. So we are all set on that first round. So we'll be looking to see when our players are available, and I'm also available to do the semifinals. So stay tuned for that, because we do have more Fall Brawl action. We hope to get the things wrapped up. So we look to crown a champion. I know it's always exciting, and we don't want to postpone it too much. It kind of loses its luster then. So we hope to keep things going. But yeah, thank you, Tom, for jumping in the booth, for rooting for Phil. Always keen to root against the Dreadnought, I guess, is the case. I mean, you were once one of these guys who was bringing this deck onto the scene. So if anyone is to blame, it's yourself. I guess you can't say it if Parallax Tide. If you claim that's the boogeyman, then I guess that makes sense. But if you're just complaining about Dreadnought, you have won't take it.
No, yeah, it's not Dreadnought, it's Tide. So
okay.
Yeah, long live Dreadnought.
All right. Well, with that, thank you, chat, for tuning in. I had a lot of fun here. Thank you, players, even though I know Phil's here. He's been chatting, so job well done there. Really cool deck, well performed, and we'll see Rich in a later round. So thank you, players, on that aspect. Thanks again, Tom. But until next time, take care.